Hello everyone and welcome to the Kiki London YouTube channel. My name's Amanda and in today's video we're going to be doing a dreamy butterfly set of nails. I really want you to do something pretty cute and just fun, so I really hope you all enjoy watching today's video. For today's design, I am just going to be working on some display tips. These are standard stiletto ones and I've nipped off the tips to make them a coffin shape. And the main three colours in this set, I thought I would show you guys them first. So we have a baby boy, spring fling, and just lavish. I really love these three colours together. They create such a soft pastel vibe and they're just super pretty. So on these two nails here, so this is going to be the thumb and the little finger. I'm going to do one coat of a baby boy on the what would be the thumb and one coat of spring fling on what would be the little finger. Now for these two nails, we're going to be doing full coverage foils. So you don't necessarily need to put two coats of colour down. You just need a one coat, so in case you have any gaps or imperfections in your foil, it helps disguise those. So whenever I'm doing a full cover foil, I always like to make sure I have a similar colour to the foil underneath. Now, of course, you would do all of your prep and base coat first before coming in with your colours and your designs, but because we're working on display tips, I have skipped the prep and base coat. Now, for our foils, I have the animal print marble mix here. I believe that's what they're called. I will double check and leave them in the comments below. And of course, to apply my foils, I'm going to be using the trusty Kiki London foil gel. So when you're doing a full cover foils, you want to make sure that your foil gel is covering the full nail. So I also like to make sure that I'm getting enough of this down that line of your sidewall and the very tip of the nail. Otherwise, this is the areas where your foil will struggle to adhere if there's not enough foil gel there. Once I've applied that, I'm going to pop that in my Kiki lamp to cure for 30 seconds. And then I've cut out a piece of the blue marble foil and I'm going to press that directly down onto the nail. Now, when I do this, I like to make sure I'm focusing down on the center of the nail to begin with. So I hold the foil quite taut because you want to make sure you're not popping any creases directly down onto the nail. Then I like to get right in the center of the nail and then work out to the sides to remove and smooth any of those creases. And I like to do this with a mix of my thumb and the silicone tool. I find both just give off a good amount of pressure. The silicone tool is a lot better at easing out the creases, but I find also with my thumb I'm able to feel any creases that I might not necessarily be able to see. So I do like to alternate between the two, and then I always slowly peel back so that I can press back down if there are any areas that haven't fully transferred, so like I did there. And just look how well that's transferred. There's a teeny tiny little area that hasn't fully transferred and I can just press down to tap that on. You sometimes do find with full coverage foils you are going to get little areas that you might not necessarily have rubbed hard enough or got good contact with the foil and the foil gel, so you do just need to come in and tap them down. And that's why I like to slowly peel back my foils, because then you're able to keep the foil positioned where it needs to be to line up the image, if that makes sense. So we're going to do exactly the same again on the pink one. I've really wanted to use these marble foils since they released and I kept forgetting to use them, so I made it a point for today's design to make sure I used these, and I loved how they worked. They are such pretty soft delicate foils. We are going to be popping a little bit of nail art over the top of them, but they do look absolutely beautiful on their own. I think these would look gorgeous as a full set of marble foils, either in the one colour or you could mix up and use all 5 colours for a really fun like Skittles manicure. So now that we've done the foils on those two nails, we're going to take the rainbow coloured butterflies. I really love these for spring summer nails. They are super cute. So of course I wanted some blue ones for the blue nail and some pink ones for the pink nail. So I've cut these water decals out as close to the image as possible. And then on the pink ones, I start off by applying these with the stamper method. But as I've said in previous videos, I find the stamper method a little bit tricky when I'm using it over a nail that hasn't got the tacky layer of gel polish left. So of course on these two nails we've applied the foil, so there's no tack on the nail. So I do sometimes find it takes a little bit of playing around to get the water decal to stick down. It will stick down, still stick down, but it can just be a little bit more tricky than when you're placing them straight down over the tackier layer of your cured gel polish. So on the pink one, I stuck with it and used the stamper method, but on the blue one I switch and use the traditional water decal method. And that's what I love about water decals. You can find a method that suits you or suits the design that you're working with, and they still apply super easy. Once I have got them in place, I do just rub over them with the silicone tool just to make sure they're nice and smooth on the nail, and then I will leave them to dry before I do anything else to that nail. So in a set like this, you're just going to go and work on one of the other nails. So for the traditional method, you cut your water decals out exactly the same. I always like to try and cut as close to that image as possible to get rid of a lot of that clear excess. And then you want to soak them in your room temperature water for around 10-15 seconds. They'll then peel easily off that backing paper and you can place them down. And how cute do they look over those marble backgrounds? I feel like it gives off a bit of a cloudy vibe. Now on to the next 3 nails in our design. I'm going to be taking 05 from the rubber coloured bases. Now if you was doing this set on a client or yourself, you wouldn't necessarily do it how I've done it here. You would use this base coat on all 5 nails. So you would do your prep on all 5 nails, all 10 nails, sorry, and then your base coat on all 10 nails as well. Then you would come over the top on the 2 foil gel nails, the foil nail, sorry, with your first layer of colour. Because I'm working on display tips, I've worked a little bit differently. So I don't need the base coat on the other 2 nails. That's why I skipped that step. But on these 2 nails, I'm mainly going to be using the base coat for the colour. So I've done 1 coat for your classic base coat layer, and then I'm coming in with a 2nd coat so that we can see that gorgeous colour. I especially love this one because it's super pigmented. So if you was using this on the natural nails, it would hide or disguise any imperfections that are there. Kind of like it would also hide the free edge, the natural nail free edge as well, so you'd get a nice solid nude colour. Now I did that on all 3 nails because the bases of all these 3 nails you are going to be seeing this nude colour. So I did 2 coats, curing both of those for 30 seconds. And then on this is going to be the pointer finger. We're going to be doing a French tip but with an ombre. So I'm going to start off by taking my baby boy gel polish and the stripe liner brush. I'm going to run that stripe liner brush through the gel polish, and then I'm just going to paint on my French tip. Now I do French tips differently depending on the mood I'm feeling in. Today I was feeling a little bit more confident with them, so I just come straight in and painted on my smile line. So I've literally just gone from one side wall to the center and then exactly the same. Now you can come in and perfect this if you're not 100% happy with it. So like I'm going to do here, I'm going to round that off a little bit more, and then I will come in and make it a little bit crisper as well. Now because we're doing an ombre, I don't want to cover the entire tip of the nail. So I'm just taking that baby boy roughly halfway down the tip of the nail, trying to get a nice even layer. It can be a little bit tricky to get an even coat when you're using a small brush. Then I'm going to take that gorgeous Just Lavish and paint this on the tip. This is a little bit easier because we haven't got to worry about creating that nice neat smile line shape. We can just come straight in with the Just Lavish. Then I'm going to take my ombre brush and we're going to blend those 2 colours together. Now I think I have blended a baby boy and Just Lavish together on the channel before. I think last spring I found that I used these 2 colours quite a lot, and they are super easy to blend. They both have that creamy consistency to them, so they blend together nicely, and they're not too different in colours. Do you know what I mean? Like Just Lavish is a really soft purpley lilac, and then baby boy is a really soft blue, so the 2 colours just blend together effortlessly. Now as you see there, I've got one of the Kiki London alcohol pads. This is so I can clean off my brush so I don't get too much gel polish building up on it, and I don't mix the colours together where I don't want them to mix. Now once I'm happy with that ombre, I just wanted to come in and neaten up that smile line, make it a little bit more crisp. Now we've got the ombre perfected and we've played around with it, you just want to make sure you're happy with the smile line before you pop it into cure. So I'm also taking my angled nail art brush, wiping it onto that same alcohol pad and just neatening up any areas that I want to look a little bit more sharp. Then we're going to pop that in to cure for 30 seconds. Now, because we've only done a one coat of our ombre, same as when you're doing a full ombre nail, you do need to come in and do a second coat. So I'm going to do exactly the same again, and this is where your ombre will really pop. You'll stop seeing that nude through the colors, and you'll see more of the blend, and the blend will look a lot more neater as well. So I'm coming in with my stripe liner brush first of all. It's always a lot easier to do your second coat of French because you've already created the shape, so you just need to carefully come over the top. And then I'm doing exactly the same, taking that baby boy halfway down the free edge, not worrying about it being a straight line or anything because we're going to be doing an ombre. And then I'm going to take that Just Lavish, push it up against that baby boy so those two colours definitely meet. And then taking my ombre brush, I'm just going to go backwards and forwards, blending those two colours together. You want to be really careful that you're making sure you're getting down the sidewalls of the nail, just because sometimes it's very easy to focus your ombre on the top of the nail, and then you'll look at the nail from a different angle and the sidewalls won't look as ombre as the centre. So do make sure you are hitting those sidewalls with your ombre brush. I come in with a little bit more baby boy here, as I did feel as though I'd taken that Just Lavish a little bit too far down, so you couldn't see as much of the baby boy as I wanted. Here I'm just perfecting those sidewalls, and look how cute this ombre looks. That baby boy blended beautifully into the Just Lavish. Again, this is another design I would happily wear on all 10 nails. Sometimes when I'm doing designs for videos, they are a little bit overboard and crazy because I want to be able to show you lots of different techniques, so they're not necessarily a design that I would wear on all 10 nails, but each one could individually be worn, if that makes sense. Now over the top of this, I'm going to come in with a little bit of base coat because I wanted to add in some iridescent glitter. One of the things I love when I'm trying to create a dreamy look is iridescent glitter. It kind of just always gives off that really soft, sparkly vibe without being too overpowering. It adds a little bit of prettiness to the set, but without drawing too much attention to the glitter. Now, sometimes people avoid encapsulating glitter in gel polish because it can be a little bit chunky, but as I've shown you before, it can be done. So I've placed my base coat down on the nail, and then I've just tapped on those glitter pieces, making sure they're lying nice and flat, and then I've popped that into cure. Then over the top of that, I want to add in a butterfly. So I'm simply going to apply this the same way I applied the blue butterflies on the foil nails. Now going back to the glitter, when you are encapsulating glitter on nails, it is going to be a little bit thicker than a standard gel polish layer, because obviously if you're just doing your 2 coats of gel polish and a little bit of nail art, it's not going to be super thick. But if you are encapsulating glitter, it's going to be a teeny tiny little bit thicker. I will show you how I get it to still look as thin and smooth as possible as we get further along in the video, because we're going to be using glitter on all 3 of these nails. So I thought I would just show you the encapsulation process together towards the end of the video. So the design work is done on that nail for now, so I'm going to pop that aside, and we're going to work on what would be the ring finger. Now on this nail, I want to have a marble tip, so I'm taking the Just Lavish, the baby boy and the spring fling, placing down on my palette, and then I'm just going to marble through them using an old dotting tool. I like to use an old dotting tool because sometimes the gel polish, if you don't clean it all off, can build up on the end of the dotting tool, and then it doesn't work as neat as a dotting tool. So I just use an old one for this step. Now I'm going to apply my base coat to the entire length of this nail, even though we're only going to be applying the marble to the tip of the nail, just because that way you're not going to be creating any unevenness on the nail. I'm going to leave that base coat wet because it's going to be acting like a blooming gel, and then we're going to simply pull our round nail art brush through the marbled gel polish and place it down into that uncured base coat. This is just going to help that gel polish run together and create a really soft marble. You don't necessarily have to put the base coat down underneath, but it won't bloom out as much along the edges, which was what I wanted for this particular design because it's not a full marble design. I then like to always cure my marbles for 60 seconds just because the gel polish might be slightly thicker in some areas. And then over the top of that, I do still want to add a little bit of glitter. So for the glitter in this design, I've got a fine glitter mix and I've mixed it in with my base coat and I'm just running that through the marble. Again, I've gone for a nice iridescent mix because I don't want to overtake that marble too much. I want it to look all soft and whimsical, but I'm just running this through the marble. And look how pretty it looks. Then on the top of that, I'm just going to dab on some of those same chunkier glitter pieces that we used on the previous nail. I'm not applying too many of these because I don't want it to overtake the nail, but where they are chunky, you do need to make sure they're lying nice and flat. So I like to focus them on the center of the nail. You don't want to take them too far out on the edges because they won't lie as flat and then you may have trouble when it comes to encapsulating them in. So I've just run a few of them through the marble. It looks a little bit random at the moment, but once it has all been top coated, it looks absolutely beautiful. Now again on this nail I wanted to add in a little butterfly because I wanted there to be butterflies on all of the nails in this set, as that was the main vibe that I was going for. So I went for one of the blue ones on this one and I'm just going to place that down just at the edge of that ombre, so pretty much right in the center of the nail. Now because it is being placed down over the glitter, you do need to spend a little bit more time working it over the top. Now these water decals are really nice and thin, so I find they mold over the top of things beautifully, so it's not sticking up in any areas like you might expect. On to the middle now in this design, I'm going to simply be adding glitter and the butterflies, and this was my favorite now in the design because I ended up matte top coating this one, and iridescent glitter looks absolutely beautiful matte. Now, one of the things I wanted to say is RB05, so the base coat we've used here, that gorgeous nude colour looks amazing against any glitter that I have tried it against. I think it's because it's such a full cover colour nude. It's such a beautiful shade, but where it's full cover, the glitter against it just looks absolutely gorgeous. So I've placed down a swirl of the iridescent glitter and then I've tapped those chunkier glitters over the top using my base coat to get them in position, and then we're going to cure that for 30 seconds. So that's going to freeze our glitter where we've placed it down. And then again, I wanted some butterflies. I think this was another reason why this particular nail was my favorite, because purple is my favorite color and we went for the purple butterflies. And I simply want to place these so they just look like they're running down that glitter trail, fluttering around. It just looks really soft and beautiful. This would make a really pretty accent now in a full nude set, I think, as well. You know, like some clients only like a bit of nail art or one or two nails. I think this would look really pretty in a set like that. So it was a little bit trickier applying these butterflies, this particular one in the center, because it's completely over the glitter. So I did take a little bit of time just to make sure it really smoothed out. As your water dries in your water decals, they will freeze and hold in place, so you don't have to worry about them moving around. It's just while they're still wet, they will move around a little bit. So now that's our design done on all 5 nails, we are ready to come in and top coat. So I'm going to top coat all of the nails using the no wipe rubber top coat. Now I will still be showing you guys how to work with the glitter nail, so hang around to watch the full result because this isn't actually the end of the video like it usually is when it comes to top coating. So I'm going to come in with a rubber top coat because it is slightly thicker. So I do always like to use this over my foils and my water decals because I find it gives off a really smooth finish, but because it's a little bit thicker than your regular top coat, it helps hold your water decals there for the duration of the set. You're not going to get any chipping or anything like that, and the rubber top coat is also great for any clients who are hard on their nails because it gives you a little bit more strength. Now when it comes to applying the rubber top coat on the glitter nails, I'm really working it around the glitter, so really making sure it gets in and around any of the grooves on the glitter to help us create a nice smooth base. However, we are going to come in and buff these nails. So what the rubber top coat is going to do is it's going to smooth everything out, seal those glitter pieces in, but because they are slightly raised off the nail, it is going to create a tiny bit of unevenness here and there. So that's why we're going to buff them to still get a super smooth surface. So I popped all of those nails in to cure for 60 seconds. So the thumb and the little finger are now finished, but we're going to work on those glitter nails. So I'm just going to move those two out of the way for now, and I'm just going to show you guys this on one of the nails. So I have my Kiki London buffer, and I'm going to start off with the 100 grit side. and I'm simply going to buff pretty much the entire nail, but I'm focusing my buffer on the areas where I've applied the glitter, because that's the areas that are going to feel slightly raised compared to the rest of the nail. Now, when I say slightly raised, I do mean ever so slightly raised, because throughout the steps of applying the glitter, we made sure we wasn't building up any thickness. We made sure those glitters were lying nice and flat, and I was being really careful where I was placing them. And then that rubber top coat has created a fairly smooth surface for us. So I'm just literally focusing this where I've applied those glitters. It does look a little bit rough, as you can see. I've done this on all 3 nails, but we haven't actually filed off any of that rubber top coat. We've simply buffed it. Then I'm going to take one of my Kiki London alcohol pads and wipe away any of the dust that's been created from our buffer. And as you can see there, they look super, super smooth. Now I'm going to come in with the no wipe top coat. So because I don't want to add any additional thickness, that's why I've switched from the rubber top coat to the no wipe top coat. The no wipe top coat has a lot thinner consistency, and we have already sealed everything in with our no wipe rubber top coat. So we're only applying this layer of top coat to bring back the shine. So that's why I opted for the no wipe, because it's that thinner consistency, but it has a gorgeous high shine. So we're going to apply this to all of the nails. No, sorry, we're going to apply this to what would be the pointer and the ring finger, because I decided I wanted to leave that middle finger matte. So I'm going to apply the matte top coat to this one. So obviously the matte top coat does go on shiny, but when it comes out of the lamp, we'll have that gorgeous matte effect back, which I absolutely loved for this design. So I'm going to pop this in to cure, and then that, guys, is the end of the video. I have left a little clip, and just look how beautiful they looked. I absolutely love this set. It's definitely a set that's very me, so I really hope you all enjoyed watching it. If you check out the description box, I will leave all of the products I've used listed below, as well as a link to the Kiki London website. If you did enjoy today's video, please do give it a thumbs up, leave us a comment below, and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and I shall see you in next Friday's video. I hope you all have a lovely weekend. Thank you all so much for watching. Lots of love. Take care. Bye bye.